DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves all of us, especially yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one framework, one approach, one mindset, a philosophy. We got a bunch of frameworks here. I shouldn't even say one because we got so many of all these things that I'm saying. A bunch of books, this daily masterclass, all under one umbrella that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Now, this topic, actually, before I get to that, let me tell you all that I have a text message line where I want you to text me and tell me the best idea, the best thought, something that is going to change your mindset, change your behaviors based on what you heard here today. Whatever it is, text me and tell me about it. My number that you can text me at is 305-384-6894. Once you text me there, not only will you be able to engage with me directly because I spend time every day replying to my texts, you will also be in my texting community, which means you're going to receive my daily motivation text message, which I send out every single morning to everyone who's in my texting community. So that number, once again, 305-384-6894. Now, this topic, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. This is the essence of what work on your game is all about. It's the essence of my whole philosophy is called literally work on your game, which means whatever your game happens to be, whatever you're putting out there into the world, you got to put the time in. You got to put the effort in. You got to put the work in to actually develop the skill to do that thing. And whatever you're coming up short at, we always want to bring the conversation back to, no matter what the solutions are that you come up with, we always want to bring the conversation back to what can you personally do? Or if it's you talking, what can I do to improve this situation? What can I do to better my chances of being successful here? Because if all your success is based on things that other people have to do, well, now you're beholden to other people for your success. And what if those other people never take those actions? What if they never make the changes that you want or think you need them to make? Then you're dead in the water because you can't do anything for your own self and you can't control your own success. So one of the ways that we stay in control of our own destiny here at Work on Your Game is that we always bring the conversation back to ourselves, because ourselves is the one thing that we have control over. So being that this is the essence of work on your game is the mentality that we all need for handling that jungle, that wild jungle out there that we call life. So let's get into why I'm talking about this and what it's going to mean for you. And this should be a foundational episode that you take with you moving forward and listen to this one more than once. Point number one, topic once again is don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. This idea, point number one, this saying, as a matter of fact, I got from a guy named Jim Rohn, who is one of the forefathers of this whole personal development thing. He has he has books out there. He has many of his audios you can find on YouTube. You can find them on your streaming service, no matter which one you have. Just look up his name. His last name is Rohn, R-O-H-N. Look this guy up and start listening to him. He's a guy who, when I first got introduced to the concept of personal development, there were a few names that kept getting dropped over and over again. It was Napoleon Hill was one, Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Tracy, Les Brown, and Jim Rohn. Tony Robbins also. These were a few of the names that kept getting dropped over and over again. I never heard of any of these gentlemen. But when I went and looked up their work, Jim Rohn being one of them, it really touched me a lot because there were many things that they were talking about were things that I had kind of sort of thought about and kind of sort of mentally touched on in my life, but I couldn't have articulated them nowhere close to the way that I do now 20 years ago. When I came across these people, especially somebody like Jim Rohn, I said, man, these guys are talking about the kind of things that they made so much sense to me. It just spoke to me when I first heard them. Zig Ziglar is another one I had to mention at that time that I was hearing about. And again, this is about 20 years ago. And Jim Rohn he tells this story, he calls it the Girl Scout story, and that he was 25 years old, this Girl Scout knocked on his door, she was selling Girl Scout cookies. I don't know if they do that anymore. I don't know if we got any Girl Scout parents here or any Girl Scout alumni here, but I know back in the day, my sister was actually a Girl Scout for some time, but Girl Scouts is like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. Not the company, but I mean, that's the age that you are when you're in the Girl Scouts. they would actually go around door to door and knock on people's doors, and whoever answered, they would try to sell them Girl Scout cookies. Usually they would have a parent or something with them as a, a chaperone. And I remember seeing my sister do it, and I also remember being a customer of Girl Scout cookies. I've had people try to sell me Girl Scout cookies. I would be and not even necessarily at my home, but I would be at the grocery store or something. Some little girl would have a table set up outside the grocery store selling their Girl Scout cookies, and I would definitely buy cookies. Or I would even see a girl selling the cookies. She would be in the elevator in the building that I live in, and I say, all right, what you got? What you got for sale? I would buy some cookies, and the parent would be very appreciative of me patronizing these kids. But anyway, Jim Rohn tells a story. He was 25 years old. This girl knocked on his door, tried to sell him some Girl Scout cookies, and I remember back in the days when my sister was in the Girl Scouts, this was the late 80s, early 90s, a box of Girl Scout cookies was $2. And my favorite Girl Scout cookies were called the Do-Si-Dos. It was like this oatmeal type of cookie with peanut butter filling in the center. And they were $2 a box. And Jim, whenever it happened to him, I guess the $2 price held for a long time. I don't think they're $2 anymore, but held for a long time. And Jim tells how he wanted to buy some Girl Scout cookies. The problem was he didn't have $2. He didn't have any money. He was completely broke. And so he lied to the little girl and told her, and he makes the story funny. You can find this little audio. It's on, again, your streaming music services. You can find these audios. Just look up Jim Rohn Girl Scout, and you can find him telling his story. And he talks about, like, man, how low do you have to be lying to a Girl Scout? So he tells the girl that, well, we already bought a whole bunch of Girl Scout cookies. We don't need any more. So the girl thanks him, and she leaves. And Jim says to himself, you know what? I got to change my life. Like, how am I 25 years old? I've been working for so many years. I went to school, and I don't have $2 in my pocket to buy some damn Girl Scout cookies. So Jim goes on his mission, this personal development mission, and he finds a mentor. And his mentor starts giving him some of these self-evaluations to help him check himself. And one of the things that his mentor told him was, don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. And one of the things that Jim Rohn said to his mentor when he was still in his mental fog, he says, well, look at my paycheck from my job. He's showing his mentor his paycheck. He says, look at my paycheck. This company doesn't pay a lot of money. I'm in a job that just doesn't pay a lot of money. And his mentor, this guy named Earl Schoaf, says to Jim, well, listen, let me ask you a question, Jim. Are there other people at the company who make 2, 3, and 10 times what you're making? And Jim said, well, yeah. And his mentor said to him, well, Jim, then the company does pay, or the company pays a lot of money. They just don't pay it to you. See, only you only get this much, but there are people in the company who are making way more than you, which means, and his mentor didn't say it in so many words, but I'll say it now, you need to work on your game. You just need to improve your output and your performance, and maybe you'll be one of those people who's making more money. So his mentor started giving him a lot of these pithy ideas that he went and talked about, and he would share with his audience, and that got to people like me, and now I'm sharing it to people like you to help check himself. And the very point of many of the things that Jim shares that his mentor told him is that when things are not going right for you, you got to ask yourself, where am I deficient? Where am I not living up to certain standards? Where is my game weak? And notice all those questions. Those are all self-directed. Those are all possessive. Those are all you looking in the mirror talking to yourself. It's not about the outside world, it's about you. And the reason why this is so powerful is because you can always answer these questions, and you can always do something about the answer. And these are the questions that are most powerful for all of us when it comes to our personal and professional development, when it comes to our growth in life. You want to be asking yourself questions that, number one, you can answer, and number two, you can do something about the answer. Now, many people are really good at number one. They can answer the question, all right, why aren't things working for me? Well, it's because the government's against me. It's because of my race, because of my gender, because of my color, because of my sexual preference, because of something that happened to my parents, something that happened years ago to people who look like me. All right, many people are pretty good at answering the question of why things are not working for them. Most people seem to have some idea why things aren't working in their favor right now. But the most important question is that second one. The most important point, rather, is that second one. Can you do something about the answer? Can you control the answer to the first question by doing something with the second point? Can you do something about it? And when you ask questions that you can answer and you can do something about the answer, that's when you put yourself in a position of power. Now ask yourself right now, How many questions of this sort are you asking yourself on a regular basis? Or are you asking yourself the disempowering questions, the kinds where you can answer, or at least you think you're answering, but you have no power or no control over the answer? Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Number 2, the better you become, the bigger the problems you can solve. In life, let me make sure that you all understand, you don't want fewer problems in life. Yes, you heard me correctly. You do not want fewer problems in life. In life, what you want are bigger and higher quality problems. Because no matter what you do in life, you're going to have problems. There is no life circumstance that is devoid of problems. There is none. I don't care if whatever job you think is the best job in the world, there are problems that come with that job. If you think the most beautiful guy or girl that you could date or marry, they come with a set of problems. All right, you want to have kids, they come with problems. You want to have no kids, there are problems with that. All right, whatever religion you get into, whatever line of work you do, whatever kind of car you drive, whatever city you live in, no matter who you're associating with or you associate with nobody, no matter what you do, there are problems. You want to be an entrepreneur? Problems. You want a job? Problems. You want to write books? Problems. You want to have a podcast? Problems. You want to be a professional speaker? Problems. You want to be an influencer? Problems. You want to be rich? Problems. You're broke? Problems. There are problems with anything you do in life. The challenge is not to eliminate problems. The only way to eliminate problems is to die. All right, dead people don't have problems. Everybody else, you want bigger and better problems. You just want higher quality problems. You don't want the problem of not having $2 to buy Girl Scout cookies. You want the problem of having 2,000 people who work for you, and you got to figure out what's the speech you're going to give at the leadership conference, because you got 2,000 eager people who want some solid leadership from you so they can keep doing great things and help move your company forward. Isn't that a bigger quality problem than not having $2 for a box of Girl Scout cookies? It's still a problem. It's just a different type of problem. That's what you want in life. And the better you become in life, the bigger and the higher the quality of the problems that you can handle. So the next time you run into a problem that you can't quite handle, understand that there's nothing wrong with the problem itself. It's you who needs an upgrade. It's not the problem that needs to be fixed. It's not the problem that needs to change. It's you who needs to change. And as your game improves, here's what happens. That particular problem becomes less of a problem because you're used to dealing with that. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? That problem isn't a problem anymore because now you know how to handle that specific thing. This is a discipline that requires some serious mental toughness, and I'll explain to you why in 1 second, but I'll give you an example. When I was a freshman in college, I was playing at the school called Penn State Abington, right outside of Philadelphia. And I remember one particular game, I don't know who we were playing, it was a road game, and the coach put me in at like a forward position. I was playing like a small forward, a power forward position, and this guy that I was guarding on the other team, he was this big, bulky white guy. He was like this big wrestler type dude, guy who shouldn't even been playing basketball. Wasn't really athletic. He was just big. He just had size. And I was this skinny, athletic freshman. I could play ball, but the one thing I didn't have was physical strength, and especially bulk. And this guy was bulky. So he saw that I was guarding him. He posted me up. He scored on me in the post like 2 times in a row because I couldn't hold him off. I couldn't keep him from like back in his position to around the rim. So he would just catch the ball near the rim and he would just turn around and make a layup on me. I couldn't stop him. And I realized that the problem was not him. The problem wasn't the fact that posting up is allowed in basketball. The problem was I need to get stronger. The problem was I need to get in the fucking weight room. So after that season, I got in the weight room and I started getting stronger, and that kind of thing didn't happen to me anymore in basketball. But had I looked at it and said, well, the problem was, well, the coach put me in at the wrong position, or I should be playing point guard and not playing forward, I could have complained about that. I could have bitched about that. And I, in some ways, could have found a way to justify it. But the bigger issue was not what the coach needed to do, because what if the coach said, well, I don't want to put you a point guard, Dre, because we already got a point guard. Or I just don't want you to play there. I want you to play this position, and either you learn how to play it or you won't play at all. What if he said that? He had the right to. So instead of putting the onus on him to solve the problem, I put the onus on myself to solve the problem, which I need to get in the weight room, which I did after my freshman year. And again, as I said, I didn't have that problem anymore. The reason why this is a discipline, to look at yourself in the mirror when you face challenges, instead of looking at the issue and saying something's wrong with the issue or whoever you want to blame for the issue, it requires that mental toughness, because when you're faced with a challenge that you can't quite handle for now, like during the game, I couldn't go lift weights in the middle of the game to get stronger. I had to wait till the off season. It's a decision that I had to make, and a decision that you're going to make, that we look inside of ourselves and see where the deficiencies lie. And this is a challenge of our mental toughness, because in these situations, we got to look at ourselves and say, damn, all right, where do I need to get better? All right, where am I weak? All right, where do I need to hold myself accountable here? Instead of pointing the finger at everybody else. This is a standards thing. Just yesterday, we talked about standards, right? The standard for you is when things are not going the way that you want them to go, you got to ask yourself, where am I not doing what I need to do? Where do I not have the right information? Where am I not executing? Where am I just ignorant? I just don't know what I don't know, and I need to get the information. All right, where do I need to sharpen myself up in some ways? That's a decision to look inside of yourself. People who do this as a habit, these are the type of people who are consistently making self-improvements, and thusly, they are consistently improving their station in life. The people who you know who always seem to be improving, they're always growing. Every 6 months you see them, they seem to be in a better space, and they're doing more, they're learning more, they're getting more information, they're always moving forward, they're always progressing. I guarantee you that those kind of people, I don't even know who they are. You know these people in your life. I guarantee you these people are consistently making self-improvements. I guarantee you that they habitually are asking themselves, where do I need to improve? Where can I get better? They're always bringing the conversation back to themselves. So here's what I would suggest to you, is that you borrow their habit and you start doing this for yourself. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is do not wish it were easier. Wish that you were better. Number 3, is there someone out there for whom this situation, whatever situation you're dealing with, think of a problem that you have right now in your life. And I guarantee you, if you're listening to me, there is at least one problem that is going on in your life right now. You might not be thinking about it. Maybe you have buried it in your mind. Maybe you're listening to this so you can forget about it. Maybe you're listening to this so you can get some insight into it. Whatever that problem is, I want you to think about it right now. Don't worry, it's not going to go away because you're thinking about it. It'll be there. Is there someone out there in the world, you don't have to know them, but is there anyone in the world who may face the same situation, but for them, it's much less of a problem than it is for you? I mean, they got the same issue that you have, but for them, it's not as big of a problem as it is for you. Is there anyone who fits that description? Or is there anyone in life who has the similar situation to you, but for them, it's not even a problem at all? The answer is, in case you didn't know, the answer is yes. There are people out there who face the same situation as you, but for them, it's not even a problem. I'll give you an example. Let's go back to my on the basketball court example, when I got overpowered by this big, bulky wrestler white dude in a basketball game. Was there a basketball player that year, or even right now, if they had some player who tried to do that to them, it wouldn't be an issue at all? They probably wouldn't even pass the guy the ball because he wouldn't score? Yes. Are there players out there who that guy wouldn't even think about calling for the ball because he'd probably get his shot blocked? Yes, of course. So the problem was not that this player was trying to post up. The problem was it was just this weak guy who had never lifted any weights, that being me, who needed to get stronger so that I could eliminate it from being a problem. The problem is not the thing. The problem is your response to the thing, or your ability to respond to the thing. Everybody follow what I'm saying? If you live in the United States of America, every year we have this bill that we got to pay. They call taxes. Now, some of you, your taxes get taken straight out of your check. The rest of us, we got to pay it ourselves. Nobody really likes paying taxes. I know some people brag about it. They virtue signal about paying their quote unquote fair share. I get it, but nobody really likes paying taxes, right? So the problem of taxes, some people don't like paying taxes because they spent all their money and didn't put any aside for taxes. That's a pretty big problem. Then you got people who don't like paying taxes. They got the money, but they just don't want to pay it. Now, it's still a problem, but it's a little bit less of a problem. It's a different quality of problem. So do you understand the thing didn't change? It's just that our response or our ability to respond to it is different based on the way that we set ourselves up, based on the standards that we set for ourselves. So is there someone out there for whom the same situation is less of a problem or even not a problem at all? Now you ask yourself the following questions. What do they know that you don't know? What are they doing that you're not doing? What do they see in the mirror that you're not seeing? Find out the answers to these questions and then make your adjustments. Understand that the world does not need to change in order for you to become successful. You need to change in a positive way to create your own success. Then, after that, you can change the world. Let me say that last phrase one more time, because I want to make sure you heard it. Write this down if you're a note-taker, if you're the note-taking type. And if you're not the note-taking type, you should take notes when you listen to this show. The world does not need to change in order to make you successful. You need to change in a positive way to create your own success. And then once you've done that, then you can go out and change the world. The world does not change, then you change. No, you change, then the world changes. Be, do, have. Let's recap today's class, which is Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. This is the essence of the whole work on your game philosophy. So shout out to the late, great Jim Rohn for this idea. Point number one, Jim said his mentor told him that when Jim was 25 years old, didn't have $2 to buy some Girl Scout cookies, he went and found a mentor. So first of all, Jim already had the right idea that he needed to change. He wasn't mad at the world. He wasn't mad at the Girl Scout for asking him for $2. He's mad at himself for not having the $2. And his mentor told him things that caused Jim to start self-evaluating and figure out, where am I deficient? Where do I not have standards, or I'm not living up to my standards? And this is powerful because he can answer these questions, and most importantly, he could do something about the answers. Point number two, the better you become, the bigger the problems and the higher the quality of the problems you have and can solve. So next time you run into a problem and you can't quite handle it, understand there's nothing wrong with the problem. It's you who needs an upgrade. And as your game improves, that problem will not be as much of a problem. Now, 3 years later, when I lifted more weights, that same type of player wouldn't be able to bully me in the post because I was stronger and he probably wouldn't even have tried. This is a discipline that requires serious mental toughness because when we're faced with a challenge in life, often we default to, or we're being taught to look at the externalities instead of looking at ourselves. And I told you about externalities in episode number 1879. I also told you externalities are not excuses. You need to look in the mirror. This is a standards thing. People who do this habitually are always improving in their lives. Point number three, is there someone out there for whom the same situation that's a problem for you is less of a problem or even a non-existent problem for another person? What do they know that you don't know? What are they doing that you're not doing? What do they see that you're not seeing? Find out and make your adjustments. The world does not need to change for you to become successful. You need to change to create success. Then you can go change the world if you so choose. Send me a text. Tell me the best idea you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. If you're the type of person who's looking for someone that, like Jim Rohn's mentor, can help put you onto some game, help hold you accountable, help make sure that you are living up to your own standards, make sure that you actually have some standards to live up to, and then make sure they actually get fulfilled by giving you some answers, giving you some information, being a soundboard, someone that you can talk to and know that you can reach out to consistently and make sure that you reach the full potential of your ability, then you may be a great candidate for working with me in my 3rd day mastermind. It's the only place I do any type of one-on-one coaching with anyone. The way to get in there is to go to my Work on Your Game University. The link is down below. It's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Click the button that says join the mastermind. Fill out a quick form. You'll schedule a Zoom call with me, and then we'll talk. Because I want to know who you are. I want to know what you're about. I want to know where you're going. I want to know where you're at right now. And we're going to talk about how I can help you get from where you are to where you want to go, and then we'll go from there. Work on your game. Dre all day.